disaster. Shout out to the fan that was ready to catch the defensive player of the year.
Still playing hard for Robert Currency. Perfect.
You mentioned the bench, Aaliyah Nye coming in huge. You mentioned Jackie Young as well.
Yeah.
Just collectively, what is it like when everything is popping for everyone?
It's a blessing. It really is. Like, we work our butts off in practice every single day. So for us to finally have some carryover, it's a good thing. I'm not satisfied. We got to keep pushing because this league is really good and we got another one coming up. But right now, it's good to be in the win column, so let's try to stay there.
Something about what just went down with A'ja Wilson and the WNBA feels shady. Real shady. And A'ja? She's done keeping it cute. She just blasted the league in a way that's got people whispering about favoritism, backroom deals, and even straight-up cover-ups. And the wildest part? One name keeps popping up in the middle of all this: Brittney Griner. Now, we've seen A'ja annoyed before, but this right here wasn't about a missed bucket or a ref's bad call. This was a woman who felt flat-out disrespected, humiliated, because while the league was busy rolling out the red carpet for Brittney, they were busy pretending A'ja didn't even exist. Fans are now asking the hard questions. Was A'ja snubbed by accident, or was she deliberately pushed to the side to make Brittney shine? Some are even saying she's being sacrificed, and that theory has been brewing for months online. People have been connecting the dots, dropping receipts, and now it looks like they might have been onto something major. And the exact moment it all exploded, it came during the All-Star campaign promo. A'ja Wilson, two-time MVP, the face of the Las Vegas Aces, a woman who has been consistent in stats, leadership, and star power, was completely missing. Not a mention, not a clip, not even a second of recognition. But guess who the league put front and center? You already know, Brittney Griner. Now, if it was just creative direction, maybe fans could have let it slide, but it wasn't that. It was way deeper. Because what came next made it clear they didn't just forget about A'ja, they erased her. The second that promo dropped, fans started flooding the comments with the same question over and over. Where's A'ja? Why is the league acting like A'ja Wilson doesn't even exist? And then came the real gut punch. She wasn't even voted in as a starter. This is the same player who's been carrying her squad, dropping double-doubles like it's light work. And just weeks ago, analysts were calling her the most dominant force in the entire league. So for the WNBA to push her to the sidelines during All-Star season, please, it wasn't a coincidence, it was calculated. And let's be real, there's only so much disrespect a star can take before they break.
Kind of funny, I seem to remember some players talking about a special whistle last year? Question mark? The only player that I could see that's truly got a special whistle is A'ja Wilson. My God. You're never beating these allegations. No wonder you put up whatever it is, 23 points a game, 25 points a game. I mean, the league is literally helping you to win MVPs. And look, all superstars get some whistles. I get that. But holy jeez. Seriously, 81-54 last night. Let's just scroll down and see what I'm talking about. 29 points, a huge game from A'ja Wilson. The rest of her team didn't show up. 13 foul shots. She had 13 foul attempts. Look at the rest of the team. I mean, they didn't. And nobody on the... Are you kidding me? When it comes to the Indiana Fever, the referees are looking in the opposite direction. Nobody had more than 4 foul attempts. A'ja Wilson, 11 of 13. No wonder she scored 29 points.
When A'ja finally hit that breaking point, it wasn't pretty. At first, she kept it subtle. Just a little side-eye emoji on Twitter, a quiet, "Y'all see this?" type of energy. But then things shifted fast. Suddenly, A'ja was liking tweets that said it all without her even having to type a word. One of those tweets said, "They never give A'ja her flowers unless it's convenient, but let someone else breathe and it's all parades and headlines." Another fan tweeted, "They used A'ja to build hype, then dumped her for Brittney again." And guess what? A'ja liked both. That was her way of saying, yeah, I see the game they're playing. She wasn't hiding her feelings anymore. If the league wasn't going to defend her, she was going to make sure the world knew she was tired of being overlooked. But here's where it really starts getting messy. Because fans started noticing a disturbing pattern. Every single time Brittney Griner was facing backlash or her name started fading out of the spotlight, the league would swoop in with a save. Suddenly, Brittney's face would be front and center on campaigns, or she'd get paired with a veteran for some feel-good, uplifting storyline. It was like clockwork, and now people are asking, is this favoritism or a flat-out agenda? And guess what? This all-star campaign looked less like a celebration and more like a full-on cover-up to protect Brittney. Some fans even think it was damage control. Because behind the curtain, whispers have been spreading about Brittney's off-court behavior, tension with teammates, locker room silence, and even players who refuse to speak up because they don't want the league breathing down their necks. And then there are the rumors that took things to a whole different level. Some fans started saying Brittney might not even be qualified to play in the WNBA, that her physical build mirrors NBA-level athletes instead. That's when the chatter about a supposed DNA test started flying online. The league refuses to acknowledge any of it, but according to the whispers, the test supposedly proves Brittney shouldn't have a spot on any WNBA roster at all. Now, if that ever came out publicly, it wouldn't just expose Brittney getting special treatment, it would blow the lid off the league's credibility. It would prove that the WNBA doesn't just bend rules, it's willing to break its own integrity to protect the players it wants front and center. So when Aja suddenly found herself sidelined during All-Star season, fans started connecting the dots. Was this about celebrating Brittney or protecting her? And the timing? Too perfect to ignore. Here's where it cuts even deeper, because while the league is busy shielding Brittney from criticism, they're dragging Aja out as a distraction, a shiny object to take the heat off their reputation. And fans have noticed. This isn't just a few salty voices in the comments, this is the majority of the fan base questioning the WNBA's integrity, pointing out the favoritism, and asking whether this league even wants to be respected on the same level as the NBA. And the league's response? Instead of addressing the criticism, they tossed Aja into the fire to keep the headlines buzzing. She became the storyline to cover for a system that looks more fragile and more political than ever. Remember that recent Fever versus Aces showdown? The one where Aja Wilson found herself in the middle of fresh controversy?
For either or both of you, how did you feel like you guys responded best after Thursday? Having that help you get them recorded?
I mean, we got embarrassed against Indiana. So we understood that we didn't want to go down that road anymore. We get tired of living in that space.
Yeah. That game turned into a lightning rod when Aja won a jump ball call against Lexi Hull from a position that had no business being ruled in her favor. The timing was way too suspicious, and fans weren't buying it, especially since the Aces looked half asleep the entire night. Yet somehow Aja came alive like a one-woman army, dropping 29 out of the team's 51 total points. Now, don't get it twisted, Aja has earned her spot as one of the greatest to ever step foot on a WNBA court. But here's the head-scratcher. How does one player rack up 29 points while the next best scorer barely scrapes 6, and everyone else is putting up 4 here, 2 there? It didn't add up, until fans started calling it the Whistle Wilson effect. That's right, the idea that Aja's insane stat line wasn't just talent, but the refs tipping the scale in her favor. And whether that's true or not, the plan worked. Because overnight, the whole conversation flipped. People stopped talking about Brittney Griner's aggression on and off the court, and instead, headlines shifted to whether Aja was being handed privilege at the expense of other players. But here's the craziest part. It's not even the first time this has happened. The league has a history of using Aja as their safe, polished, marketable face whenever it benefits them, only to toss her aside when the narrative changes. Think about it. When they needed clean MVP press, Aja was front and center. When they needed a calm voice after brutal team losses, Aja had the mic in her hand. When they wanted a bold, respectable spokesperson for racial justice campaigns, Aja's voice was the one amplified. She's been the league's go-to fixer until it's time to swap her out for someone else. The second Brittney Griner came back from Russia, the league flipped the switch. It was suddenly all about her hero's journey, even though Aja Wilson was outshining her in every single stat line. But let's be real. Every player has a breaking point, and Aja's patience was already razor thin. Sources close to the Aces say she'd been frustrated ever since last season's MVP voting, when she wasn't even in the top 2 despite having numbers stronger than half the names on that list. But the all-star snub? That was the straw that broke her back.
The only players to show up for the Las Vegas Aces was Aja Wilson, the WNBA referees, and Kathy Engelbert. Now, why Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner? Because, well, she won't do anything about the officiating in this league.
Word is, Aja almost skipped press week altogether. She did show up, but barely said a word, and her eyes told the story. This was a woman who had bled, sweated, and cried for the game, only to feel like the league had slapped her right across the face in return. And then it got shady, real shady. A reporter from an independent sports podcast posted a DM screenshot that allegedly came from inside a WNBA locker room. The claim? That Griner was once again getting protected treatment. And the post didn't hold back. It said, "This league will gaslight the best player we have just to keep Brittney's redemption arc alive." That single post exploded over 10,000 shares in one day. Suddenly, everyone was asking the same question: was this whole thing planned from the jump? Meanwhile, the fan base split straight down the middle. On one side, people are riding for Aja hard, saying she's been disrespected for too long, underappreciated, and treated like nothing more than a prop whenever the league needs her. On the other side, you've got the diehard Brittney supporters who will defend her no matter what. But even in that crowd, some folks are side-eyeing how fast the league stepped right over Aja just to keep Brittney's image polished. One viral Reddit post summed it up perfectly. "It's wild how quickly the WNBA will step over Aja just to keep Brittney's image clean. We're watching history repeat in real time. And with every share, every like, and every fan debate, the cracks in the league's armor are getting harder to hide." Here's where things get real intriguing. Because since that all-star snub, AJ Wilson, hasn't just been mad, she's been strategic. She's showing up to interviews cold as ice, short answers, no smiles, none of that "I'm just happy to be here" act the league always tries to stick her with, and fans are clocking the moves.
Now confirmed, Brittney Griner, Brett Griner, I don't know what to actually call them, but it seems like him. Brittney Griner has confirmed that she is a male.
Aja unfollowed multiple WNBA accounts, stopped liking or sharing league promos, and sources say she even turned down a league-sponsored appearance at a big ESPN event. That's not shade. That's a statement. At this point, it's obvious Aja doesn't just want to vent. She wants to shake the system. For her, this isn't about chasing headlines or clout. This is about respect. After years of carrying the league, playing the role they scripted for her, and staying humble, she's done letting them play in her face. And Brittney, what did she say about all this? Nothing, at least not directly. But within hours of Aja's name trending, Brittney just so happened to post a smiling carousel of photos with WNBA execs, her wife, and a vague caption about being thankful for grace and forgiveness. Fans called it out immediately. That silence wasn't innocent, it was calculated. Like she knew the storm was brewing, but trusted the league to sweep it under the rug for her once again. But here's the real plot twist. The receipts started pouring in. Multiple sports talk commentators dropped breakdowns, showing how Aja has been systematically sidelined for years. One video went viral after showing screenshots from past MVP campaigns where Aja's achievements were literally printed in smaller font compared to other players. Another post highlighted engagement numbers proving that Aja pulls bigger fan interaction than half the faces the league pushes front and center, yet she's still being erased. The more people dig, the harder it is to deny that Aja's being boxed out on purpose, and now she's making sure everyone sees it. Aja Wilson's merch outsells almost every other player in the league, but you'd never know it, because she gets less than half the promo. This isn't new, it's just finally too obvious to ignore, and that's why Aja isn't letting it slide anymore. Even the WNBA's own comment sections are starting to roast them. Fans are flooding every post with the same energy. "Y'all did Aja dirty, fix it, and stop humiliating your best player if you want us to keep supporting this league." The message is loud and clear. Stop using Aja as a shield when it's convenient, then ghost her when the spotlight matters most. If the WNBA thought they could quietly sweep this under the rug, they better look down, because the rug is on fire now. And that leaves the million-dollar question. What happens next? Well, one thing's for sure. Aja hasn't spoken her final word. Insiders are saying she's already in deep talks with her management team about making a personal brand shift, one that could take her far beyond the WNBA's shadow. Rumors are flying about shoe deals, brand collabs, maybe even a whole docuseries built around her story. Because if the league won't do her justice, Aja's ready to take control and tell it herself, and that could change everything. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment with your thoughts, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video so more people can see what's really happening behind the scenes. And don't forget, click one of the boxes on your screen right now to check out more stories just like this. See you on the next one.